what do you got?
I think I can prove to a judge that both of these men had the mens rea.
What the hell is a mens rea?
It's a legal term the lawyers use. It just means the intention to commit a crime.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Mens rea?
Put the cuffs on him.
How could we have gotten mens rea? We take blood? Can you do it without taking blood? We both use condoms. How is this possible? I want to see a doctor. Can I have an independent blood test?
Hey, money!
I feel sick.
What are you doing?
Mens rea! Oh! Oh! My God! No!
That will never not be funny.
I was wondering where I was the only one here.
I'm here. Welcome, everybody. That was so quick. Stingy is new member. Maddie Graham is our new member. We did our new membership for you guys on our other stream. We just wrapped up less than 30 seconds ago. Thank you, everybody, for kicking on over here to join us for this new trial. Let's bump out of him here. All right, everybody. This is a new trial that started yesterday. I was sleeping and doing other things with the Cummings trial. Yeah, I know some of the chat doesn't get brought over here, but they know how to find me. It's just this weird thing. Some of you get it sent over here, some of you don't. But those of you, we got a ton of people here. We got 400 of you here now, and 94 likes. Come on, guys, really? You're here. Hit that like button. We need 429 likes immediately. So while I'm reading this, while I'm giving you a little bit of brief on this trial, make sure you you hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Make sure you hit that like button. And Aussie Overlord is joining us here. You'll notice you'll hear slight little clicking noises. That's because his screen is because he's playing Crash Bandicoot as we speak.
I gotta stay awake somehow.
Listen, you can hear his Crash Bandicoot game clicks. All right. This is a serious case. I should stop laughing. Okay, 500 people, 190 likes. We're not even halfway there. Come on, guys, get 500 likes. We need 500 likes instantly. All right. While you're doing the likes, while you're liking me, because that's what I need, that's what I demand. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going on here. Again, as I said, this is a brand new trial that started yesterday. It's a Florida man. All good stories start with Florida man. This one's not a great story, but it's a Florida man story nonetheless. The story behind this is all right. The story behind this just deleted itself from my screen. that's a great way to start, isn't it?
One of you having to shake your pen. You need.
All right. Wow. All right. Let me bring this. Let me bring my explanation up here somewhere. Where the hell did it go? This is what happens when you finish one stream and literally instantly jump into another one. All right. This trial surrounds a guy named Matthew Robertson Terry. And if anyone ever uses your middle name, it's not for a good reason. All right. Matthew Robinson Terry, he's 47 years old. He was arrested back on May 28th. He was charged with stabbing elementary school math teacher Kay Baker, 43, to death. According to the authorities in press releases and in court documents, the two were together at the Landing Bar and Grill on the night of May 27th. A witness said that Terry was upset with Baker. "I saw you dancing with that guy," the defendant allegedly said. Early on May 28th, a man claimed to hear screaming and found Baker, the woman, dead outside on the street, well, near the street, according to a redacted affidavit. Now, investigators followed a trail of blood from Terry's house to Terry in an overgrown bush and trees. He was found only wearing a t-shirt and underwear soaked in apparent blood. He had lacerations on his fingers and his hands, as well as superficial cuts to his arms, authorities said. The defendant also had what appeared to be 2 stab wounds along each side of his neck, which appeared to be symmetrical and clean punctures, authorities said. The defendant declined to make any statements without legal representation. Based on the blood pooling where he was standing, authorities suggested that these were self-inflicted wounds. Authorities suggested that Baker The woman had fled out of a window of Terry's house within a locked bedroom, but Terry caught her. She sustained several stab wounds to her right shoulder, back, and a very deep laceration across the front of her neck, authorities said. Every capital murder case must be evaluated on its own facts to determine if a reasonable jury made up of Hillsborough County residents could unanimously sentence a defendant to death, the 13th Judicial District's new state attorney Susan Lopez said. It is the most serious penalty available under Florida law. What? Killing someone is the most serious penalty under Florida law? You don't say. That was a genius statement. So apparently in Florida, being executed is the worst possible punishment. Who would have thought? And I approach this responsibility with humility and a sense of duty to the rule of law. Defendant Matthew Terry's actions were especially heinous, cruel, and atrocious. He was merciless in his brutal killing of Ms. Baker, and given his history of violent behavior, we will ask a jury to sentence him to death. This is a death penalty case, people. Terry previously has spent 3 years in a Michigan prison after authorities there said he bit, beat, and stabbed his then girlfriend, according to the Tampa Bay Times. He now remains at the Hillsborough County Jail on a $1 million bond. The decision to seek the death penalty is among the first decisions made by Lopez. Her predecessor, Andrew Warren, refused to prosecute anyone violating Florida's 15-week deletion of children ban, prosecute doctors providing gender affirming services for transgender people or trans people who used restrooms matching their gender. Governor Ron DeSantis suspended him from the job and appointed Lopez. Warren, a Democrat, called the Republican governor's decision a political stunt and illegal overreach born of political ambition. And Warren's office had previously declined to seek the death penalty against Terry, according to the Times. In a Monday report, he told the outlet that he did not seek the death penalty based on the wishes of Baker's family. So based on the wishes of the victim's family, he didn't seek the death penalty. But what did the family have to say? The family said, we're not really people who are hugely in favor of the death penalty. That was his stepmother, Christine Empey, told the outlet. In this case, we were all in agreement that if that was what legal experts wanted to do, we were not opposed to it. We just don't want him to get out. So the reason apparently they were against the death penalty is the lawyer said, we think it's best if we don't get the death penalty. But the new prosecutor comes in and she wants the death penalty. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing. Excuse me. This is a death penalty case. It's in Florida. We're 1 day behind. Day 2 has already started. We're going to play this at 1.25 speed. It doesn't make that much of a difference. It's the South. People tend to talk a little slower there. So we should be good. But welcome you all here to this trial. According to the prosecutor, they're looking at about 28 witnesses for the prosecution. I don't know how many they're going to have for the defense. But that's what we're looking at. Today, we're going to get through at least the opening statements and possibly some of the first day's testimony. And we'll keep doing makeups every day until we catch up. And no matter what, we'll catch up over the weekend. So, all right, let's jump into this. Aussie Overlord. Well, oh, wait, what happened? All right, there we go. Let's bring this up. We need to embiggen the screen. And we're going to jump in at 1.25 speed, skip all the sidebars. And from what I've seen of this judge, he seems like a really sharp, on point, good judge. So let's roll.
We'll get you one, right? See, that's perfect. Thank you for that.
Let me
also, if they run out, if your pen runs out or stops working for any reason during the proceedings, don't be shy. Don't hesitate. Raise your hand. Get my attention or the bailiff to your right's attention. He's got a full supply of them over there. We've also got more notes.
He's talking really fast just about if you need a pen, ask for it.
Shy. Get our attention if you need something. With that said, I'm going to turn now to the state and ask if they are ready to proceed.
All right, people, 757 of you and only 300. We don't even have 50% likes. Come on, guys. Get up over the 50% like thing. Don't make me be Bronca and threaten to cut my stream off if you don't get over 550%. All right, here we go.
Did he really? Jesus.
Yeah.
Past midnight, rapidly approaching 12:30 in the morning. Kay Baker is lying face on the ground in the yard of her neighbor. With every beat of her heart, her life is ending. Kay Baker has suffered a grievous, severe wound to her neck, one that starts to the right side of her chin and wraps almost 180 degrees around her neck, just past her ear. It has
that's a throat slitting.
Her jugular and her voice box. Blood is literally pouring out of her onto the ground, and the seconds are ticking closer and closer and closer to her death. As that's happening, a gentleman named Jonathan Figgins, who lives at 6211 Kite Ridge Drive, is on the couch. He's been watching TV. He's dozed off, and he hears a noise outside. Describes it as a thud. Says he hears a noise like a person in pain, a female voice. It is loud enough to rouse him from his sleep, and it startles him so much that he thinks it's his daughter upstairs who's in bed. So he runs up the stairs trying to find his daughter to make sure she's okay, and she promptly tells him, "Everything's good, Dad." Then he starts trying to figure out, what is this noise? He steps outside, and there he finds Kay Baker laying on the ground. She has already been attacked. She is bleeding out onto the grass of the neighboring home, 6209.
I know it's too low. He's not standing in front of the microphone.
At first, he doesn't even realize what's going on.
I literally have it at 600% volume, and for some reason,
You've
already got the
so thin a frame.
Damn, he's
that
talking really quiet.
She's a teenager. He thinks that she's passed out because she's drunk. But when he walks,
there now it's at 600%, and it doesn't like being at 600% apparently, because it's buffering us. God damn it! Oh, come on, don't buffer us. Well, there you go. That's a great way to start, isn't it?
It's over, and he sees the pool of blood rapidly expanding beneath her on the ground.
Oh, is it loud up? Sorry.
Something is
I
deadly wrong.
Turn down my mic.
About that same time, Mr. Figgins' wife, Ruth, who was asleep in bed, heard her husband yelling to the daughter, doesn't know what's going on. She comes outside. She sees exactly what's going on, too. She calls 911. And now law enforcement is on the way. But while that's happening, as they're waiting for law enforcement to arrive, Douglas Hicks, who lives at 6209, the neighboring home, the one on the other side of where Kay Baker is laying, he's heard a noise too. He was inside his home. It's 12:30 at night. He's up with his son. They're playing video games. They have the TV going. They've heard some strange noise too. Douglas Hicks will tell you he's heard some kind of movement outside, and he's heard the sound of maybe someone gasping or being out of breath, some sort of pained expression. And he too comes outside, and now he finds Kay Baker just as well. As all of this is unfolding, right about the same time, Jonathan Figgins hears the sound of movement in the backyard. You see, Mr. Figgins' home has a 6-foot-tall privacy fence around the backyard, but Mr. Hicks at 6209 does not. And so from where Kay Baker is, you can run straight into the backyard of 6209. And as you'll discover, Kay Baker lived at 6207, just the other side of Mr. Hicks' home from where she's found dead. And that backyard also doesn't have a fence. And so you can freely move from where Kay Baker is into the backyard of 6209 and into 6207. And Mr. Figgins hears a noise coming from the back area. Again, remember, he thinks initially when he first starts all of this, he thinks it's a teenager passed out in the yard drunk. So when he hears the noise, he initially thinks, oh, it's probably other kids. They're back there drinking or whatever. But when he realizes that this is not just some teenager passed out, he tells his wife to go turn on the light because now they're concerned that somebody's moving around in the backyard. And this is the scene that is unfolding as first responding deputies run up to the scene where Kay Baker is laying on the ground. By this point, her life has expired. Jonathan Figgins, Ruth Figgins, Douglas Hicks saw her in her last seconds of life. And by the time HCSO has responded, it's over. But still, they make a valiant effort. First responding deputy, Deputy Ellis, runs up. She finds Mr. Figgins over the body, still trying to provide life-saving efforts as directed by 911. She takes over and she tries to provide CPR, pumping the chest, giving chest compressions, but it's no use. In the meantime, her partner, Deputy Strahan, has responded, and he hears Mr. Figgins comment that there's a noise coming from the backyard. There was a noise coming from the backyard. And so immediately, Deputy Strahan starts to walk up the side of 6209, along the privacy fence to 6211, and immediately starts to see drops of blood on the ground leading into the backyard of 6209. And now they know that there has been some sort of movement. Somebody moved at some point. It either came from or it went into the backyard. So you'll hear from Deputy Wesley King, who along with Deputy Strahan and along with Deputy Ellis and other members of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, they begin walking around trying to figure out what's going on. They're not going to walk into the backyard of 6209. They know there's blood on the ground. They don't want to contaminate the scene. So they walk to the other side of 6209, looking to see if there's any evidence over there. And there they find the side of Kay Baker's home. And a window to a child's bedroom is open. The blinds are pulled up. And the screen that keeps the mosquitoes out from every Floridian home has been pushed out of the window and is on the ground.
Every Floridian home
Immediately gets HCSO's attention. They're starting to figure out something is going on, but they're not.
There are no armed civilians in
You'll hear
Korea.
how Deputy Strahan and Deputy Ellis go and move to guard the front door of 6209 because they don't know what's going on. They don't know if there's other people, the attackers, wounded, whatever the case may be, who might be inside 6209. And you will have a chance to watch the body cam footage. You will see Deputy Ellis first respond and find the body of Kay Baker as she was. You'll see the footage of Deputy Strahan first finding the blood on the ground. You'll see the footage of Deputy King finding the open window. And you will see the footage of as Deputy Strahan is standing guarding the front door, he realizes the front door is cracked open ever so slightly. The front door to Kay Baker's home is not fully closed. He tells his supervisor organizes a team of deputies, and they make entry into the home fearing that there are more wounded inside the home. And you'll be able to see that body cam. You'll be able to see that as HCSO came inside the house, there is nobody inside that home. You will see them go room to room. They check the kitchen. They check the garage. They move into the master bathroom, the master bedroom. And then what's left is a hallway on a split level floor plan.
Yeah, it's 1.25 speed.
And the bathroom that children would normally share in common. And so the deputies start clearing the rooms. They clear the first child's bedroom to the left. That turns out to not be the room with the window that's open. They clear the bathroom. They look behind the shower curtain. There's nobody inside. But when they turn around and they start to walk out of the bathroom, the first thing they realize is the door frame to the bathroom is completely splintered and cracked. Indication that somebody had kicked in the bathroom door at some point, completely damaging the door frame and knocking the lock loose on the door. Right next to that door, that damaged bathroom door, is the last child's bedroom. And that door is locked. Locked from the inside. Not knowing what to expect, HCSO kicks in that door. They go into the room looking to make sure there's nobody else injured, and they discover that that room is empty as well. But just as they saw it from the outside, window open, blinds pulled up, screen pushed out. At this point, they realize that 6209 Miss Baker's home and Miss Baker are connected, and obviously this is all tied together somehow. So things start to slow down. They set up a crime scene. They call up the crime scene investigators. They assign the detective who will process the scene on behalf of HCSO, and you will hear from those individuals. You will hear about how they came out. They took initial pictures of the scene where Miss Baker is. They take pictures of the backyard, and they start noticing.
Hi, I was muted.
There's blood in the backyard. There's blood on the walls of 6211. There's blood on the walls of 6209. There's blood in the area where Kay Baker has fallen. They also realize that parked in front of Kay Baker's home is a silver car, a car that is ultimately determined to be the defendant's. Because as it turns out, you will learn the defendant and Kay Baker were in a relationship. They had been dating. He was living with her. And as I'll tell you in a bit, they had been together that evening. But at the moment, he is nowhere to be found. You'll see how HCSO went inside the home. They started documenting the inside of the home. And you'll see that Kay Baker's home was largely kept pretty clean.
Yeah, but a door locked from the inside indicates someone doesn't want someone to come in and try to get out and escape.
Bedroom was a little rumpled from where people had slept in a bed, but otherwise the home was clean. And so the broken door is certainly unusual. And while that's happening, other HCSO deputies are trying to figure out where that blood might have gone in the backyard. They've figured out enough to know that the blood now moves from 6209 into the backyard of 6207. And as it turns out, on the far rear end of both 6209, just like all the other homes there along Kite Ridge Drive, there is a thick set of bushes and underbrush, some trees. And so they go around to the other side of the bushes. They're now on Lithia Pinecrest Road. The bushes don't exactly back up, but are pretty close to right at the edge of Lithia Pinecrest. And so the deputies pull around, and there on the other side of the bushes, on the back side of 6207, they can see more blood. And they can see that someone has gone through the bushes and trampled them down in the process. So Now having a blood trail running along a main thoroughfare, HCSO says, let's call out the dogs. They bring out a bloodhound. And you will have a chance to see the dog as it tracks.
Oh, we get to see the doggy.
Deputy Polito, as he points to the spot on the ground where the blood that has been discovered is marked. And almost instantly, the dog takes off, walking parallel with Lithia Pinecrest, walking for roughly the distance of a football field in the complete dark. Every once in a while, a car goes by, but otherwise, there's nobody out in this area. And it tracks and goes and goes and goes. And eventually, Deputy Polito realizes that unexpectedly, there is now again a giant pool of blood on the ground. But there's nobody around, nobody visible. He's been following what is arguably little tiny drops, and now there's something about maybe the size of a dinner plate worth of blood. So they call in the helicopter. The helicopter has thermal imaging. It can see if there's people moving about. Remember, the deputies at this point are walking along the edge of what is really thick brush, tall bushes, trees. They cannot see exactly what's going on, so they fly the helicopter overhead. It goes to the area where Deputy Polito and his bloodhound are, and the helicopter, the observer, the guy working the camera, says, there's a spot on the ground, and I don't know what it is. You'll learn that water retains heat, and so a pool of water could look like a person just as much as a person can. He says, but there's clearly something there in the bushes, within feet of where they're standing. And so
send the dog in the bush
to apprehend suspects. They're not bite dogs, as you'll learn. So they switch to another dog, and a second deputy, Deputy Hall, with his dog and his body cam, goes into the brush. And not long after he breaks into the brush, just to his right, he realizes there's a person laying on the ground. Matthew Terry. Matthew Terry is laying down in the darkness, in the bushes, concealed to some degree by tall grass. He is wearing a shirt and a pair of underwear and nothing more. He is instantly taken into custody. Law enforcement notices that he has 2 wounds to his neck, almost symmetrical, just on the other side of his windpipe.
And if you look on the thumbnail I laid, you can see the scars.
See him as he was when he was found. Shirt, underwear, wounds to his neck, nothing more. The defendant is also photographed. He's photographed both at the scene before he's taken to the hospital, and then photos are taken again when he's at the hospital. And what you will see is he has no injuries to his face, no injuries to his legs. He has some thin lines running down his arm, long lines running down his arm. But otherwise, he's uninjured. As part of the processing, crime scene takes a swab of the defendant's right hand in the presence of potential DNA. And as you can expect, we'll come back to that in not too far in the future.
I'm wearing pants today. It's
so
cold.
While that's happening, crime scene is still processing. They're taking photos of the victim.
Oh,
Eventually,
really?
the victim is taken and an autopsy is performed later that morning. Dr. Axel Perkins performs the autopsy, and you'll have a chance to hear from Dr. Perkins. She will talk to you about the things that happened during the autopsy, the observations that she made. You'll also hear about, as part of the autopsy, the victim's shirt, jeans, and nail clippings. They literally cut off portions of her fingernails.
Yes, Ozzy is playing Crash Bandicoot.
You'll also hear how a swab is taken from the victim's neck to see if there's any DNA there that is suspicious.
I'm here for comic relief, let's face it. This is a heavy
Simultaneously,
topic.
crime scene is still working back at the home of Kay Baker. Inside the home, you'll see that they find a wire hanger, like a person might get from the dry cleaners. But for reasons that are not clear at the moment, the end of the wire hanger has been straightened out to make it long, a long, thin piece of metal. And HCSO, realizing this, looks at the door handles in the Baker home and realizes that the door handles that face out to, for example, the living room or the hallway where the bathroom was kicked in, have a tiny pinhole in the door.
Oh, it's the old hanger to push open the
long and straight
to unlock the door things.
to try and unlock the door.
I always hated those.
And as they pay closer attention, they can see that the master bedroom door has been damaged too. There's a long, thin vertical crack running down the side of the door, aimed directly at the locking mechanism. And on the floor of the bedroom, they find pieces of the locking mechanism from the master bedroom door. Now there's 2 doors that they've discovered have somehow been damaged. In that same area,
I can do
they
that.
find a cell phone and a set of keys on a nightstand. Keys that ultimately go to the defendant's vehicle, right next to a cell phone. They find another cell phone. That cell phone's in the kitchen. And you'll discover that that cell phone ultimately belongs to Kay Baker. But speaking of the kitchen, knowing that Kay Baker has suffered what the medical examiner will tell you is an incised wound, meaning a cut or a stab wound from some sort of sharp object, HCSO takes the time to try and find every knife in the house. They go to the drawer with the forks and the knives, and they look at all the knives, and those knives all have sort of wooden handles. They look in the dishwasher, and there they find some more knives. These knives are black handled. And then they look at the knife block in the corner of the kitchen, and they realize that 3 knives are missing out of the knife block. The 2 of those knives, steak knives, are sitting in the dishwasher. There's 1 knife missing. A 3.5-inch bird's beak paring knife is not in the block. And I will tell you now, a weapon in this case is never found. But certainly in that home, every knife that you would expect is there, except for this 1 3.5-inch bird's beak knife.
Seriously, folks, less than half of you have liked it. Smash that like button. We should have 1,000 likes right now.
All the blood in the backyard of 6209, and you're going to discover that there's blood going.
Come on, guys. There's lack of likes is half the reason why I'm dying here. Smack the like button.
There's blood that runs along the fence down 6211. So much so that when you go down the side of the fence that runs along 6211 facing towards 6209, and you get to the end of the fence where it faces towards Lithia Pinecrest, there's a bloody handprint on the fence.
Whose handprint?
You'll be able to see the pictures of it. You'll be able to see the fingers. And so they swab that. They swab that handprint on that fence. And as you might expect, we'll come back to that too. But then there is blood moving through 6209 into the backyard of 6207. And in the backyard of 6207, you'll see there's a small little soccer goal, and there's like a jungle gym for kids to play on.
Oof.
And there is a trail of blood running directly from 6209.
God, there's a lot of blood in this case.
Bushes in the backyard of 6207, just on the other side of where the blood was found by the Lithia Pinecrest, and in the same place where the bushes were trampled down. And so you'll hear that samples of all of that blood is collected, but specifically some of the blood that's sitting on the net for the soccer goal is collected. And the actual leaf, the leaf from one of the bushes that has blood on it, right at the start of the bushes as you exit out of 6207 into the bushes, heading towards Lithia Pinecrest, that's collected as well. And we'll talk about all this again in a second too. You'll also see that law enforcement took swabbings from the area in the immediate vicinity of Kay Baker. You're going to see an unusual looking arch of blood about a foot tall at the very bottom of the wall of 6211 Kite Ridge Drive, the home of Jonathan Figgins. It's a near perfect arch. They swab that. They collect that sample too. And so now we have samples of blood from all over. In the meantime, other deputies are trying to figure out if anybody has any information about any of this. No one has actually seen this attack. Does anybody know what might have caused it? And as it turns out, as HCSO is on scene guarding Kay Baker's home, her neighbor at 6205, Nicholas Calicochi, comes home. Mr. Calicochi works at a restaurant called The Landing, and he is one of the chefs. But he's also the neighbor of Kay Baker, and as you'll discover, they became something of friends. And he tells law enforcement immediately, well, Ms. Baker and the defendant were just together not too long ago at The Landing. They'd been there all night, drinking and eating food and having a good time with some friends. And then Mr. Calicochi says something really interesting. He says, while they were there, the defendant accused Kay Baker of dancing with another man. And there was some sort of like disagreement or argument. And so, as you might expect, HCSO says, well, who are all these other people that are at the bar that might know what happened? And so they discover people like Kelly Andrews and her husband, Sean Andrews, and Tara Johnson, who were all at The Landing that night. And what they will tell you is that somewhere there that night, around 10 o'clock-ish, Kay Baker got up and went to the bathroom. And we have the video, so you'll get to see it, though there's no sound. You'll see the defendant almost immediately turns and watches his girlfriend go to the bathroom. And when she does, he decides to get up and he follows her. She goes into the bathroom, he goes into the bathroom. And after Ms. Baker has a chance to use the facilities, she comes walking back out. And as it turns out, her friend, Kelly Andrews, is coming walking towards the bathroom. And having a good time, enjoying themselves, the two women have a short little dance party together. And when I say short, I mean it lasts all of maybe 5 seconds. As they see each other, they throw their hands up and kind of shake their hips and have a good time. And in that exact moment, some other patron in the bar, who is not a friend of any of these people, who is not with them at the bar, who just so happens to be walking to the bathroom at the same moment that Kay Baker is coming out and Kelly Andrews is going to the bathroom, he throws his hands up too. Doesn't actually dance with them. He just kind of throws his hands up and shimmies past them. And it's the exact moment, it's at that moment that the defendant is coming out of the bathroom and sees Kay Baker. And he goes back to the table. And you'll be able to see it. You won't be able to hear it, but you'll be able to see it. The defendant goes and sits back at the table with Sean Andrews. Kelly Andrews is still at the moment in the bathroom. And Kay Baker is talking with Nicholas Calicochi, who's off work at this point and sitting watching the football game. And the minute Kelly Andrews comes back, you'll be able to tell from the body language that she's telling the defendant that Kay Baker wasn't dancing with another man. You'll be able to see it plainly from her body language.
Wow.
But that doesn't dissuade the defendant. After being told by Miss Andrews that Kay Baker wasn't dancing with another man, you'll see the defendant get up and he'll go over on video to Kay Baker. He brings her a drink. And initially she regards him affectionately. They're standing close, they're laughing, they're talking, everybody's having a good time. They've got their arms around each other. And again, even though you won't be able to hear it, you'll be able to see the moment. You'll be able to see the moment the defendant turns, leans into Kay Baker, and her whole attitude shifts. And initially, they're talking, but you'll watch her. Kay Baker walks immediately to Kelly Andrews. The defendant takes the seat across from Kelly Andrews. And you can see the two women are now trying to convince the defendant that nothing was going on. Kelly Andrews was there. Sean Andrews was there. Tara Johnson was there. And they'll all tell you about this incident. They'll tell you what was said. They'll tell you what was happening since you can't hear it for yourself.
The video is at 1.25.
The defendant was getting upset at the thought that his girlfriend was dancing with another man. And at one point, she tried to diffuse the situation and tell him, look, it's clear that Kay loves you. And it's clear that you love him because you're jealous. And in that moment, she will describe to you how the defendant's head whipped around and says, I'm not jealous. I don't have anything to be jealous about.
This is in Florida. Florida here.
The night proceeds. People go back to drinking, eating food, having a good time. And somewhere around 11:30, everyone is wrapping up to go home. It's just Kelly and her husband, Kay, and the defendant. And it's on video. You'll see them leave, get in the car, drive away. And Kelly and Sean Andrews stay behind because they're waiting for an Uber. And within minutes of leaving the bar, you will see Kelly Andrews get a phone call. And she will tell you what that phone call is. She will tell you that what's happening in that moment is Kay Baker is calling her again because the defendant, now an hour and a half later, is still accusing Kay Baker of dancing with another man. Kay Baker is having to call Kelly Andrews to say, please tell him again, I wasn't dancing with someone else. And she'll tell you she can hear the defendant in the background.
He served a few years in prison for abusing a previous girlfriend.
That's at like 11:48. A few minutes pass, and when that does, Kelly Andrews gets the last text message known to ever be sent by Kay Baker.
Damn.
It says, LOL, sorry for that, so dumb, all good now. That's at 11:56. That is within 30 minutes of Kay Baker being found dead in her neighbor's yard. The last person she is with is the defendant. You'll hear how law enforcement took photos of Kelly Andrews' phone to document the time of the call, to document the text message that she received at 11:56. And you'll hear how they also eventually got access to Kay Baker's phone and found the same text messages in Kay Baker's phone, confirming that the conversation happened. You'll hear that law enforcement made an effort. They went out multiple times to the area where the defendant was found and to the backyards. They took metal detectors. One detective actually wandered into the bushes and found a hornet's nest or a bee's nest and got stung by it trying to search that wooded area for any sign of a knife, but no knife was ever found.
Oh dear God, my officer got stung by a bee.
Pictures taken of the defendant.
Your mic's really low, Hayden.
Pictures were taken by the defendant when he was arrested and when he was taken to the hospital were sent to a Dr. Kelly Devers, who also works in the medical examiner's office, and they asked her, Dr. Devers, do you have any insight?
Sorry about that. I said, oh dear God, my officer's being stung by a bee.
Injured himself? Is he the one who did this to himself? And I'll be very clear with you. Dr. Devers is not going to tell you that she's 100% certain the defendant inflicted his own wounds. She'll say it's possible. She'll say it's also possible that somebody else injured him. But you'll also hear her talk about what are called hesitation marks. Hesitation marks are things that typically occur on the neck of an individual or any other place where a person attempts to inflict a wound on themselves in pursuit of a suicide. And they put, for example, the blade to their neck, like they're going to cut their own neck. And then as they start to cut, they hesitate. And so you'll see that she'll point out to you that on the photos of the defendant, he's got hesitation marks on his neck. But that will further be confirmed when the state of Florida puts in the evidence from the records taken from the hospital at Tampa General where the defendant was taken. And in those records, you will see I will point it out to you where the defendant admitted that he self-inflicted his own wounds.
Oops.
Trying to commit suicide.
Yeah, so he stabbed himself on both sides of his neck to try to
Now,
commit suicide. Yeah.
In this case, the state of Florida ultimately has 3 elements that we have to prove in pursuit of a first-degree murder. The first is that the victim is dead. And you will see a stipulation that is executed between the state and the defense. And that fact will be a given. Kay Baker's dead. We all know that. The second one will be that the defendant caused it. And as we discussed in jury selection, the third element will be whether or not the murder was premeditated. Did the defendant have time to reflect? Did he consciously decide to commit this murder? And you'll hear, just as we discussed before, the law does not fix an exact period of time. But as we also discussed, you'll hear that the defendant being intoxicated, having had drinks that night at the landing, is not a defense to this crime. And so as you talk about and ultimately determine what happened in this case, I will ask you to pay close attention to the things that will indicate to you the premeditated intent. The state of Florida will ask you to look carefully at the number of wounds that Kay Baker suffers, the number of times a knife or some other sharp object had to be plunged into her flesh. Because it's not just one wound to her neck, it's 2.
Ugh.
She's got this long cut along her neck, but you'll see there's actually 2 cuts there. You'll see how there's another
Yes,
mark
this is a death penalty case.
where she's been stabbed. You'll see another mark to the right of her neck along her shoulder where she's been stabbed. You'll see that on the back of her neck, she's got this jagged, almost sort of lightning bolt looking cut mark along the back of her neck. She's been stabbed multiple times. She's been cut multiple times. It has severed her carotid artery, her jugular vein, and her voice box. It has damaged the structures of her neck. This is not a thin slice.
Oh, that was good. I bumped the volume. I bumped the volume up to 600%, and now I started buffering. Sorry about that, y'all. It'll unbuffer itself here in a second. That's lovely. Okay. Come on. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Shit. Come on.
Okay. While we're waiting for Vices, I do apologize if anyone's been upset with me playing the video games in the corner. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, he's back.
Hang on. Holy shit. Hang on. Wow.
She cannot be absolutely certain one way or another if Kay Baker suffered defensive wounds or suffered offensive wounds, meaning whether
That was
her
wild.
hands got injured using the knife or being attacked by the knife. But you will see
All
this
right.
picture,
Hang on.
and I submit to you that at the end, it will become clear to you that those are defensive wounds. Kay Baker was fighting for her life. She's getting injured on her hands, on her neck, front and back. She's got one on her face. And the defendant, by comparison, has only 2 marks on his neck that he admits are self-inflicted. But beyond that, I want to go back to the DNA, the swabs that I've been talking about. You'll hear how we eventually got what's called a buccal sample from the defendant. A swab that was taken from the inside of the defendant's mouth. You rub a big Q-tip, you collect the DNA, and now you can get the defendant's DNA profile. And that allows you to figure out whose DNA is in any given swab that was collected. And so you'll hear how on the victim's neck, there's only the victim's DNA. The defendant's DNA is not there, but nobody else's DNA is there either. You'll hear how on the ground at the edge of the porch of 6209 where Kay Baker's head falls, there's only her blood. Not the defendant's, but it's also nobody else's. And then we get to that blood arch on the wall. And you'll hear how that blood is only Kay Baker's. All the blood immediately around Kay Baker is Kay Baker's. You'll hear how the fingernail clippings that were collected, how under Ms. Baker's right-hand fingernails, there's the DNA of another person. That man. The man she fought with. You'll also hear on the side of 6209, there's blood spatter. And that blood is Kay Baker's and that man's. You'll hear that the chances of it being anyone other than Kay Baker and the defendant is 1 in 700 billion with a B.
Jeez.
You'll hear how
That'll do
on
it.
the swab of the fence, remember that piece of the fence where there's the handprint facing Lithia Pinecrest? It's Kay Baker's and that man. It's their DNA. 1 in 700 billion chance of being anyone else. You'll hear about the soccer net, the blood trail leading towards the bushes running through Kay Baker's yard. It's that man. It's the defendant. It's only him. When you get to the leaf, as you start to break into the bushes, traversing through the bushes, heading towards Lithia Pinecrest, and what you'll come to know as red marker A, the evidence marker, red marker A, it's the defendant and that man. And you'll hear on the defendant's own hand, his right hand, there's the DNA of 2 people. As you might expect, the defendant's DNA is on his own hand. But the other DNA on his hand is Kay Baker.
Wait, his own DNA is on his own hand?
All of that.
Makes sense.
As part of the testimony, the state of Florida will also call an individual by the name of Anna Cox. Ms. Cox specializes in what's called blood pattern expert, or a blood pattern analysis. She's an expert in blood pattern analysis. And so she can look at the patterns of blood. She can tell you things about how that blood got there, whether it was dripping, whether it was cast off, whether it was just somebody bleeding, whatever the case may be. And there'll be a lot to talk about there, so I won't go into all of it. But what Ms. Cox will tell you is that blood arch on the wall on the side of Jonathan Figgins' home, that distinctive blood arch, she will tell you that in no uncertain terms, that is Kay Baker's blood. We know that by DNA. And that is Kay Baker's blood pumping out of her neck. So I'll explain to you how when your heart beats and constricts, the blood goes straight up your carotid artery. And if there's a giant hole in your neck, it shoots up because it's gaining pressure. And then as pressure drops, it shoots down. And so what she will tell you is that at some moment in this fight, Kay Baker is either laying on the ground, her neck exposed to the wall, but her back to the ground, or she is on her hands and knees, her face inches from the ground, when her neck is open and her carotid artery sprays blood on the wall.
Oof.
There will be a lot to take in here. We'll approach somewhere in the neighborhood of 28 witnesses and over 60 pieces of evidence, photos, videos, physical items. We ask that you pay careful attention to all of these things and you listen to them, both the testimony that is given, but also the videos that are played. You look carefully at the photos, you contemplate the items that are put before you. It is the state's position that when you do all of those things at the end of this trial, one answer will emerge as the clear and obvious answer. It is that the defendant killed Kay Baker and that he did so in a premeditated way. That he chased Kay Baker out of the home. She is the person who fled out of the window. He is the person that would have had to come out the front door to chase her down and eventually catch up to her at 6209, one house over. That is the time when he is premeditating. That is the time when he is reflecting. And when you see all those things and you contemplate all those things, the state of Florida is certain that at the end of this trial, you will return the only just verdict, which is guilty of first-degree murder. Thank you.
Is there anyone who would like to take a very short break before we turn to the defense opening statement?
Wow. Okay. That's the end of the prosecutor's opening statement. Geez. That was a very, very good overall thing. I mean, Ozzy, I don't know how much that you caught, but I thought that was a very, very good opening statement.
No, I think he did really well. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking forward to some half decent defense opening statements for once. I mean, I don't know how many people will have actually seen one, given that we all saw what happened with Brooks.
And the Cummings trial that's been going on, that was horrific. Well, no, I mean, that was very good for the defense. It was a really bad prosecutor's opening. But go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, all good. I was just going to say he was very clear, he was very concise, and he was very to the point with the jury, which is exactly what you want. So no, he did a good job. Yeah,
and he gave a good opening statement. In fact, that's what you want to do. You want to tell the jury what you're going to do. As a prosecutor, we're going to call this witness. He's going to tell you this. We're going to call this witness. She's going to tell you this. You lay out the roadmap to murder. You have to get in the premeditated position. You have to get in the murder actually occurred. So you need the motive. You need and how it was done. And that's what he said. He went through point by point. This is what we're going to show. This is what we're going to show. And this is what we're going to show. It was a textbook solid opening. I think he wasn't under passionate. I think you see that a lot from prosecutors. They're just under passionate. They don't get as excited as they should.
Yeah, but that's also, as a prosecutor, that's not really something you want to be known for either, is getting excited about being there to do your job effectively, because you don't want to be excited about the fact that, a woman has died, that there was blood everywhere, that you don't want to come across as morbid because it looks bad on you for your case.
I mean, in the dynamic way of you have the passion for the righteous anger for the murdered victim, and how you're gonna put this guy. You're asking for the death penalty in this case, so you better make it sound like a death penalty case. I think
that is true.
But I think you did well. We got a few super chats here to clear. We have the pre-glitch ones and the post-glitch ones. Eva Torres, which we can't bring up, unfortunately, because of the glitch. Watching the video game play contemporaneous with legal explanations is my new favorite thing. Kangaroo's button says, Xcomer, button clicking is louder than the courtroom. And Flux says, come on, people, show Jeff some love. Give that like button a little rub down. Thank you for that, Flux. And since then, we got the few more super chats here. Okay, we got that one. I guess we got them all. Hey, cool. Except for just one. Lost Sparrow, has he offered any kind of attempt of a defense reason? This is the prosecutor that just got done. He's not going to give the defense anything. So what we know basically is they were at a bar. She was allegedly dancing with another man, according to what her boyfriend said. But she says, she said the witnesses are going to say that she was actually dancing for about 5 seconds with another girl, and then went home. Something happened. He breaks in the door. She locks her bedroom door from the inside, escapes through the window. He catches her, does the stabby thing, which ends her life. And then he goes in a bush and stabs himself in the neck twice to either try to make it look like he was a victim or try to kill himself. But he said he did it. Apparently, they're going to show that he said it that he did it to try to off himself. Wow. So that's where we stand now. Now it's up to the defense to give their arguments. And again, this is a death penalty case. They are asking to end this man's life. So regardless of whether you think this guy is guilty of sin or not, the prosecution still must meet their burden of proof to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he premeditatedly ended this woman's life and that he deserves the death penalty. The defense has their right to put on a defense, question the witness, call into question their character, their knowledge, their information, to question the witnesses, to make the objections. They get their day in court. With that, again, we're doing this at 125 speed to try to catch up as quickly as possible. We're clearly not going to get through all 7 hours of this today, but we get to skip through the breaks and things. Want to get through at least the defense opening and a few of the witnesses. Mm-hmm. Now, how this is going to go, I don't know. This just started yesterday. This is brand new. Execution says, X, hey, Jeff, say my name. Oh, thank you. There you go. Thank you so much for that super chat. And again, for those of you that are here, please hit the like button. We're doing quite well. We've got 723 likes and almost 1,100 concurrent viewers. So get in there and hit that like button before we start. And subscribe to my channel. And Aussie Overlord, who is now a Crash Bandicoot player, go over to his channel, subscribe to him, like his videos as well. Great to have him here. He's being extra super today because in Australia, it is now 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m. as opposed to 12:30 a.m. here in Korea where I am. We're doing good today. As long as you can stay here, please do. I'm talking to you, Ozzy. I don't know what your schedule is. We're having a good time watching this trial. I think this is going to be a good textbook case. We don't.
I think it's going to be a good for the viewers. Honestly, I think this one's going to be. Yeah. The judge seems quite composed as well, and he seems like he's going to have good control of the court, which is good.
Yeah, Jack Matt says, I'm more interested in the Ski Man trial. That's going to start in about an hour, but they're going to go through jury instructions, and then they'll do their closing arguments and whatnot. So we're taking care of this while waiting for that, and I'll probably join somebody else later on that day unless I decide to go to sleep. But that's where we're standing with this right now. We've got these things going. We're doing this. We're getting ready to do the defense opening statement. Let's see how that looks. Why does the super chats, they get read first, of course, and there's nothing I can do about the volume. It is literally up 600% from the main stream. So this is as good as it's going to get. So I wish we could do better on the volume, but hey, you know, nobody's standing near the microphone. It's just the courtroom thing. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, super chats. That'll get read first. We'll try to read what we can as far as the rest of the chat goes. But what we'll do is while they're giving the arguments, I don't want to interrupt it too much. So we'll do what we've been doing: display the super chats across the bottom, and then read them during the breaks like we just did. Getting back in, Execution says, Hayden, put the game back up, you NZer.
Long story short, no, because people said they didn't like it. So it's easier to keep them happy than it is to people to watch it. So
whatever. All right. Again, 125 speed. Let's get into the defense's opening statements. And I don't know how fast she talks. If she talks super fast, we'll slow it down. This is the judge from the Trevor Summers case, the guy that kidnapped his ex-wife and Sater and tried to kill her twice and killed himself. And this is a good judge. You're right. I mean, this is a good judge. I think he's very fair. He's very knowledgeable. He's very even keeled. I like this judge. Let's go.
By show of hands. All right. Defense ready to give your opening statement? Yes, Ms. Radley, you may proceed.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You all sat through a very long process of jury selection, and it took a week.
Holy crap, it's a 125 and she's still talking slow.
Started at 196 jurors, and now you are the ones that have been chosen to sit and be judges in this case. And that was for a reason, because you all were the ones that were able to make it through the process to guarantee that Mr. Terry and the state of Florida will be guaranteed a fair trial in this case. You agreed that you would be able to presume Mr. Terry innocent and require the state to prove this
True.
case beyond a reasonable doubt.
They have to presume he's innocent.
And not just through speculation. The state came up here and told you about what they anticipate their evidence will show
Yes.
in the case. But you're the ones that are going to determine the true facts of what happened in this case. What the state says is not evidence. The evidence comes from the witnesses and from the testimony and exhibits that you're going to hear. And you all determine what are the true facts of what happened in this case. What happened to Kay Baker and who caused her death. They have to prove that to you. And you will not hear, as Mr. Diaz said, any
Should we try 1.5?
tell you that they saw what happened to Miss Baker that caused her death.
might as well. She's
You're not
talking
gonna
slow
see
enough.
Video that's going to show what happened that caused Miss Baker's death.
Oh my God, there's no
You should
difference.
listen to what the evidence is that's presented and what it means. This case is what we'll call a circumstantial evidence case. What it means is that there's going to be pieces to the puzzle that the state is going to, at the end, and as Mr. Diaz just did, try to paint a picture with those pieces. But you're to listen to all of those pieces critically and determine for yourselves what they mean. Pay attention to the evidence that's going to be at the scene and the evidence that's also missing. Pay
Okay.
attention to the blood evidence that Mr. Diaz talked about and to the injuries, Ms. Baker's injuries and Mr. Terry's injuries. Pay attention to the areas that were searched and what was found. As Mr. Diaz stated, there was never a murder weapon retrieved in this case.
Okay.
The areas
Fair
that were
enough.
contaminated, how the first responders did respond, what their actions were, where they went, and what they looked for.
What do
Listen
the
to
actions of the
what
first
witnesses
responders have
say
to do with
when
it?
they are being questioned by the defense, as well as what they're saying to the state. Remember that we are the ones that always go last. So we're asking that you reserve your judgment as you agreed to do and formulate your opinion at the end. Once you hear all of the evidence and you put all the pieces together and you hold the state to their burden in this case, you will find Mr. Terry not guilty of the murder of Kay Baker. Thank you.
What? Whoa, wait, what?
We're going to take a short morning break.
What the fuck was that?
What the hell? I know we played that at 1.5 times, but shit.
That was the opening statement? What the shit was that?
You ever get the feeling that a lawyer doesn't believe in their own case?
Yeah, now I do.
Mm.
Holy crap. Wow. I I don't even have anything funny to say about that. Holy shit. Amy Johnson says this case this happened literally 10 minutes from where I live. The former state attorney didn't want to seek the death penalty. Yeah, we talked about that at the beginning. Fast forward, seeking death penalty, and the defendant wanted a speedy trial. It's unusual for a defendant to not waive his right to a speedy trial in the U.S. Yeah, I mean, you want to take time to make a case. Wow, that's pretty wild. So basically, whatever the hell that was just saying, listen to the testimony and make your decision. That's all I got out of that, literally.
Yeah, saying that the entire case was circumstantial and that, they need to wait until the defense has a chance to talk before making up their minds, which they're required to do anyway. But
that was shocking.
Yeah. You're right. I can't even come up with a joke.
I really can't either. That was wild. Oh, we already said your name. Wow.
Crusade that opening. I'm not disagreeing with you, Mr. Upper Torso. That was like
hang my client, please. That was a drive-by opening. All right. Wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. No, I'm guessing with that kind of an opening, she was a public defender. If I had paid for that, I'd have issues.
It's premature for sure. Yeah, look, not gonna lie, guys with ED last longer than that.
Wow, literally all she said in however long that was, 5 minutes maybe, was
less than
listen to the witnesses and make your own. Wow. All right. Yeah. At this speed, the trial is over in 3 days. The prosecutor, he said they had 28 witnesses to go through and 60 some odd pieces of evidence. I mean, depending how fast they get through them, that could be 2 or 3 days. I mean, they can burn through 6 or 7 witnesses in a day. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But let's
what the cross is going to look like as well.
Well, I'm not holding up much hope for cross-examination if that was their opening. Psychotic Goldfish says it's the same exact defense argument Chandler Halderson's lawyer used. Pretty much. I heard this and thought, dude is screwed and is going away. Yeah, it was pretty much the same thing. Like, we got nothing. Just listen and make your own decision. So yeah, that opening might as well have said, we know he's guilty, so let's get it over with.
That's what it reeked of. I'm not going to lie.
For lunch sometime between 12 and 12:30, so now would be the appropriate time for our morning break. The morning breaks are usually about 15 minutes. I know there's a number of you, and there's only one restroom back there, so if it takes...
The judge talks fast.
Please not discuss the case amongst yourself or anyone else. Please not do any research related to the case.
He's had his coffee this morning.
Yeah. The judge is doing a good job talking quickly. Why are we buffering, damn it? Carr said that opening, she might as well have said, we know he's guilty, so let's get this over with. Why are we buffering? God dang it.
Seems like it's a mix of the 1.25 plus the volume. I don't know. Maybe it's not enough.
Yeah, that's probably it. Let's put our, we're going to put our volume back. We're going to put our speed back down to normal. Yeah. All right. Oh, no. See, now he's got totally bumped. Fucking hell. All right. We're coming. We're working on it, guys. Hang tight. Hang tight. This happens when modulating volume and speed. All right, let's redo this little bad boy here. There we go. Come on. Come on. Boot up, little Bessie. Come on, Bessie. Shh. Well, this is awkward, isn't it?
Go on, get along there.
There we go.
There we go.
Minutes. I know there's a number of you.
All right. Yeah, this is really annoying me.
There's only one restroom back there, so if it takes more time, that's absolutely fine. Please do not discuss the case amongst yourselves or to anyone else. Please do not do any research related to the case. All right.
Come on, really? Yeah, lovely. Oh, this is not making me happy. Yeah. A lot of stuff, buffers. All right, if this happens again, don't worry. I have this. I downloaded this, and we can just go to the actual live
Mr. Diaz,
video.
Be able to take care of that modification of. Oh, okay. Oh, excellent.
All right, I'm gonna reload the video here, the old-fashioned way. Hang on, real quick here. Video feed.
All right, so you're then ready when we come back from the break with your first witness? And I suspect they're still objecting, but
Finally.
all right, let me look at it.
Yeah, using Chrome can tend to be bad.
It, in my opinion, is better than the.
All right, so we can skip through this break.
I will allow it. Mr. Diaz, approximately how long do you think we do one witness before lunch, or you got? Oh, okay. All right. All right, excellent.
Okay, so they're gonna do 3 witnesses before lunch. Let's just skip ahead to this, and I'm gonna load this on Edge. We're skipping ahead through the lunch break, skipping. What the business? What the business? Show me the business. All right. Again, damn this thing. We're going to do it again, as I said, the old-fashioned way, like a long time ago. Bring up the videos, recordings. And bring up, where are we here? We don't want to watch Daryl Brooks, do we?
Preferably not. Had enough of that for one lifetime.
Ah, crud. Well, this is a really awesome stream, isn't it?
It's all right. Shit happens.
Yep, this is perfectly great. Grounds. God, no. Stop.
Grounds.
Well, we're just... There we go. God dang it.
At least we're entertaining Eva Torres.
Yeah, we're definitely not entertaining anything here, are we?
I could never unhear what the business thanks to you fine folk. You're very welcome, Andrew 46 and 2.
Yeah. We're just waiting for this thing to restart here. While we're doing, yeah. Well, right now, I wouldn't ask anybody to push the like button because this is like some major internet suckage right now. I would just be embarrassed if anyone click the like button right now. But again, it's just buffering, and my internet has 0 packet loss right now, so we're good. All right, I'm going to bring this up. We're going to watch this as best we can while I dig and find the version I downloaded, and we'll just watch it straight from a download. So, all righty, here we go. Starting with the first witness.
Jury is present and seated. Everyone else may be seated at this time. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, welcome back. There is one thing before we get started that
Let's
I
bring it
forgot
on
to
up.
ask
There
you
we
this
go.
morning that I intend to ask you every morning when you return, and that is whether any of you, by show of hands, were exposed to any reports about this case outside of the courtroom between the time you left on Friday and the time that you returned on this morning. Anyone by show of hands?
Son of a. Well, whatever. We'll be right there. Hang on.
Hands exposed to anything, reports, discussions, or anything about this case. Thank you. Let the record reflect there are no hands. I will now ask the state to please call their first witness. Jonathan Figgins. On my list. Microphone on.
See what Jonathan has to say for himself.
All right, this guy looks like Kingpin.
Ooh, he does a little bit, doesn't he?
What was the guy from Archer? Was that Figgis?
Mr. Figgins. Good
Figgins,
morning.
I think.
Welcome, sir. If you'll come forward through the gate, you'll come to where the bailiff is indicated and face me to be sworn in as a witness. If you'll raise your right hand, please. Thank you. Do you swear or affirm any testimony you give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God, sir?
I do.
All right, if you'll follow, thank you. If you'll follow the bailiff, please watch your step. That chair is, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. That microphone is fully adjustable. You may need to bring it down some. It looks like it's up high.
Cyril Figgis.
You may proceed, Mr. Diaz.
Thank you. Sir, please state your full name for the record.
Yes, Jonathan Ernest Figgins.
And Mr. Figgins, do you reside at 6211 Kite Ridge Drive in Lithia, Florida?
I do.
Is that in Hillsborough County?
Yes.
I want to talk with you about the very, very early morning hours of Saturday, May 28th, basically just after midnight. Do you remember being asleep at that time?
I was
Where were you sleeping?
on the couch in my living room.
And just so the jury has a picture, I was standing looking at the front door of your home. As soon as you go in through the front door, are you basically in the living room?
Yes, pretty much against the left wall.
Okay. And so if we were standing outside of your home looking at your front door, is 6209 to the left?
Yes.
And is that the wall that you're closest to when you're sleeping?
Yes.
So you were asleep. Had you gone to bed for the night, or what was the situation?
I think my daughter, one of my daughters, was sleeping with my wife in the big bed, and so I kind of got delegated to the couch.
All right. So you were passed out on the couch, and somewhere
Been
after
there.
approaching 12:30ish, did you hear a noise that woke you up?
Yes.
I want you to describe to the jury the noise that you hear as best as you can.
So this is the
I
neighbor.
was sleeping, and basically I heard a loud thump, followed by a kind of a cry of pain, and I immediately thought that it was my daughter who was upstairs. So I got up, I ran to the stairway.
You know what, guys? I'm gonna switch this to an edge feed. I'm comparing them, and the edge feed looks way better to begin with. I'm sure the audio is much better. So I'm gonna dump out of this and pull up the Microsoft Edge feed. Yeah, I think I'm learning a lesson here. Yeah. Chrome sucks. That's the lesson I'm learning. To bring this up, boom. Come on, really? I mean, even the picture just looks better to begin with. At least I think it does. But I don't have the audio boost on Edge, so it's a kind of a take it or leave it thing. Let's give it a listen here. I didn't. It's muted, isn't it? I know it's muted because I'm an idiot. Let's just assume it's muted because I don't think I clicked on the share audio button. God dang it! This is like the worst day ever. Share screen. Yep, I knew it. That's how I rock. I knew it. And let's bring it on up again. And you know what I did? Hayden, talk for a second or two here while I
What's up?
while I unintercourse myself here.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, I mean, what's it really to say? This trial, let's face it, we've been trying to unintercourse ourselves for the last 20 minutes. So,
Yeah.
anyone enjoy watching Daredevil?
All right, here. Yeah.
Overdub. Oh god. If anyone's interested, I finished another level. What's that? Hayden steals all the subs. Unbreaded.
Yeah.
No, look, guys, I'm just hoping to get to 10K before Christmas if we can manage it. So if anyone hasn't liked, subscribed, please feel free. Oh, what's that freaking crazy kangaroo?
Okay, we are ready to give this a crack. I think we should give this a listen. And we've got no audio, do we? What the shit is up with that? Come on. Good. All right. I love Stream Chat. I love Stream Chat. That's Lordy. I want to share the entire. Sorry, guys. We're gonna have to do this one thing at a time here. We'll have to just muddle by. We're gonna muddle by with Chrome today because it's not letting me stream the Edge feed through the Chrome-based StreamYard. How awesome is that? God damn it. Well, this is my life today. It sucks, but what are you going to do? Chrome is back. There we go. Really? Really? Uh-huh. All right, step 2 in this process. We're going to do step 3 here. You know, by God, I'm invested in this at this point. Hang tight, these 6 of you that are probably still here. Ozzy, I'm going to totally shut down Chrome and bring everything up on Edge. So you're going to be alone here for a bit. Take it away, Chief.
Okay.
Just right, take it away, Chief.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go. Howdly doodly, people. Fingers crossed Jeff's not going to be too far away. Any more updates on Crash? Yeah, look, I'm partway through the Ripperoo boss fight. I've got 2 out of the 3 TNTs exploded, so we're getting there. I honestly have no idea how to prove that Australia exists in any way, shape, or form that people are actually going to believe. So there's no real way around that. Oh, and he's back.
All right. So this just looks better. Turn it off and turn it on again. That's essentially what I just...
Exactly what you did.
So, all righty. Now let's see what we got going here. Bring up the Edge tab, the girlfriend tab, supersize it, and let's give her a crack.
Proceed, Mr. Diaz.
Thank you. Sir, please state your full name for the record.
Yes, Jonathan Ernest Figgins.
And Mr. Figgins, do you reside at 6211 Kite Ridge Drive in Lithia, Florida?
I do.
Is that in Hillsborough
Can
County?
anybody hear
Yes.
that?
I want to talk with you about the very, very early morning hours of Saturday, May 28th, basically just after midnight. Do you remember being asleep at that time?
I was.
Where were you sleeping?
On the couch in my living room.
And just so the jury has a picture, if I was standing looking at the front door of your home, as soon as you go in through the front door, are you basically in the living room?
Yes, pretty much against the left wall.
That is really
So
quiet,
if
isn't
you
it?
were standing outside.
Is it?
Of
You
your
can hear
home
it
looking
okay.
at your front door. Is 6209
All right.
to the left?
Yes.
And is that the wall that you're closest to when you're sleeping?
Yes.
So you were asleep. Had you gone to bed for the night, or what was the situation?
I think one of my daughters was sleeping with my wife in the big bed, and so I kind of got delegated to the couch.
All right. So you were passed out on the couch, and somewhere after midnight, approaching 12:30ish, did you hear a noise that woke you up?
Yes.
I want you to describe to the jury the noise that you hear as best as you can.
While I was sleeping, and basically I heard a loud thump, followed by a kind of a cry of pain, and
Wow.
I immediately thought that it was my daughter who was upstairs. So I got up, I ran to the stairway.
And let me just stop you a second. You
sure.
describe a thump.
Yes.
Why does that make you think of your daughter upstairs?
It was a pretty heavy thump. To me, it sounded like someone fell off the bed or maybe fell off the roof or something.
You think it's somebody like falling out of the bed hitting the floor?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And you describe a pain sound. Do you have any recollection as to whether or not that voice sounded male or female to you?
To me, it sounded female.
All right. So that's why you're looking for your daughter.
Yes.
All right. So you get up and you go looking for your daughter who's upstairs in bed, as far as you know. And do you ultimately discover where she is?
Yes, she's upstairs in bed. Fine.
All right. So there was nothing wrong with her?
No.
So you've heard this noise. It's not your daughter. Do you start looking around trying to figure out where this noise came from?
Yes.
And do you eventually go outside of your home to the front of your home?
Yes.
And when you do, I want you to tell me what you noticed, if anything, when you went outside and looked around.
Yes, I exited my house and I turned to the right, and between mine and the neighbor's house, there was somebody laying on the floor.
And you say the neighbor's home. Does that mean this person laying on the ground is between 6209 and your home at 6211?
Yes.
And they're laying on the ground. Can you describe the position of their body?
They were kind of angled down with the left shoulder up, right face kind of angled so that the feet were towards my house and head was towards my neighbor's house.
Ooh, camera
So
angle change.
You're looking basically up the person from their feet towards their head.
Yeah, kind of angled in a way. So.
And at that point, what did you think was going on?
I actually thought it was a.
Oh, you're kidding me. I give up. I quit. I'm done. The hell is that? Oh, that's them. Okay, that's not me. See?
That's got to be part of their feed.
That's not me. That's them. All right. Gave me a fucking heart attack. All right, there we go. Buffer up, boys. Law and cuck suck shit. So this is them. I'm blaming this all on them. Yeah, I know the trial is live now. The next day trial is live now. This is just us here today. And my Lord, I hate law and cuck so bad.
Yes. And eventually, at some point, given instructions to try and like render aid.
Yes. Yes.
Do you try?
All right,
and
that's the
render
biggest we can
aid to
do.
this person?
I did.
And so when you initially described them, you described them as laying on the right side of their face. Their left shoulder is kind of up. Do you have to reposition them in any way?
I did. I had to take the left shoulder and kind of scoot them back so that they were fully on the back.
All right. So you take left shoulder and turn the left shoulder now towards the ground. Their face up.
Face up, yes.
And what, if anything, do you notice about this
What,
person?
if anything?
There's a large
Oh, God.
gash to the jaw and neck area.
All right, if I can prove. You may. Mr. Figgins, I'm going to show you what's been pre-marked as State's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this?
I do.
Is this a photo of the person that you found that evening?
It is.
Or I guess really it's that morning. Does it fairly and accurately depict the face and neck of the person as you saw them when you rolled them over?
It does.
Now, at this time, I move into evidence State's Exhibit number 1.
Other than previously discussed? Same objection. All right, it'll be admitted at this time.
Your Honor, I'd ask for permission to publish.
You may publish.
Okay. He looks like a sensible,
Figgins,
decent
on the
guy.
picture there, is that the person that you saw when you rolled her over?
Yes.
Is that what she looked like with all of that substance, whatever that substance is, all over her face.
It is.
And just here, beneath the chin, is this the gash in the neck you were talking about?
Yes. Yeah, it was there and all the way up through the jaw.
Now we can see here this person doesn't appear to be wearing a shirt. It has like this white pad here. When you found them, were they dressed?
Yes.
They had a shirt on
Yes.
and pants.
Yes.
At some point, did
Yeah, I think they're
emergency
talking
medical
about
people
blood
show up
here.
and start rendering aid?
Yes, I was told to do compressions and to hold a towel on the neck, which I did, and I did compressions until eventually the emergency medical people showed up.
Now, as you're there, out in front of your home, you discover this body. You realize something is more than what you thought it was. You start rendering aid. You roll the body over. Do you hear noises coming from anywhere in the vicinity?
Yes, actually, that was when I first saw the body and everything, and I was trying to find out what was going on. I heard a rustle sound from the back woods area. There's a small patch of woods behind my house.
And let's talk about that for a second. From where you're standing, where the body is,
Yes.
can you?
I'm going to be
actually go
adventurous
that far?
and try to speed
No,
this
I
up again. Do you
fence
think we need to?
on my yard, but the neighbor's yard is open. So
Couldn't hurt. I mean, he seems to have already specified who he is and what the foundation of this is. So
Fenced in, but this piece is not.
correct.
So from where the body was, could a person freely go back and forth into the backyard if they so chose?
Yes.
And is that where you hear this noise coming from?
Yes.
I want to be clear. Do you think you hear the sound of the wind rustling through the trees?
No, it was certainly someone moving back there or something, but I did tell my wife to go and turn on the light and make sure there was no one in our backyard.
And did you see anybody when lights turned on?
No.
Did you ever hear anybody again after lights turned on?
No.
When law enforcement arrived and took over and then, started assuming custody of the scene, at some point, did they talk with you?
Yes.
Did you tell them about the fact that you'd heard a noise in the backyard area of your neighbor's home?
I believe so, yes.
And at any point, did they ever ask you if you had any sort of cameras on your home that was filming outside?
They did.
Do you
yeah.
have cameras?
We do.
Could you tell me about them? Do they record?
They're very cheap, but probably could have gone a little bit more.
That's not
Those-
wind, that's the
No,
Lorax.
but, they only record, I guess, when you tell them to. which is
So
kinda
you have to
pointless.
like physically go and activate the camera to record.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not recording as like
All
a
the
general
time.
rule.
Correct. Yes, it's arming them or however you want to put that. So.
That's a witness, Your Honor.
I mean, it's kind of good to see like normal witnesses testifying normally
When you heard this noise at
and
first,
getting through it quickly. Again, this is defense cross-examination.
Really recognize what it was?
No, it was a loud thud, enough to wake me up anyway, and the sound of a winds of pain or a yell of pain or something like that. It sounded like someone got hurt, and
And when you heard that noise, you actually thought it was coming from a different area, from upstairs where your daughter was.
yeah,
When you realized it wasn't your daughter, you started to look around for where that noise might have come from, right?
yes,
Okay. And at that point, it had taken you a little while to try to figure that out, right? And you described it before as being as much as 3 minutes, right?
yeah. 3 minutes, probably went outside.
Once you got out there, you indicated that you found Ms. Baker. While you were tending to her and trying to help her, did you end up getting blood on your hands or on any part of you?
I believe so. Yes.
And that was simply in trying to help her, not trying to hurt her, right?
Right.
And when that happened, that's when you heard the noise in the woods, right?
No, this was the noise came pretty much after I saw the body, and I still thought it was a drunk teenager at that time. And when I heard the rustle, that's when I told my wife to go turn on the lights and then do that. So it was more towards the opening. It was before I even knew that the person was severely hurt.
Okay, so it was more towards the beginning when you heard the rustling.
Yes.
And that's a great word you just used, rustling. So it could have been like rustling from trees, and really you described it before as it could have really been anything in the woods, right?
Yeah, I didn't know.
And if we were to speculate,
I think
what
the
it was
rustling of
person, it could have
leaves
even
and the
been
rustling of a
something
person
real,
sound a
right?
little different.
Suppose. Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah,
could have been
generally you can
absolutely
tell. I mean, a rustling of an animal, for example, is going to sound
Now,
completely
the road
different
that you
to the wind
described
blowing
with
through the
pine
trees, sort of
crest
thing.
that's behind your house.
Yes.
It's a pretty big road, right?
Yeah.
Lots of people travel on it all times of the day, right?
Yes.
And
Got
you know,
him.
I know we've described it as woods that's between your home and Lithia Pinecrest. It's not that wide. It's something that could be walked through in seconds, right?
Yeah, it's only a 2-lane road, so yeah, it's not very big.
Okay, and that wooded area is not big.
Oh,
No, it's probably about the same width as a road. Yeah.
Perfect description. So just about the same width as a two-lane road.
Correct.
One lane on each side.
Yeah.
Something that could be walked across in just seconds.
Sure.
By anybody going through at that time of night, right?
Yes.
Could I just have a moment?
Oh, wow, what's she doing? She had plenty of time to do stuff.
Mr. Figgins, when you heard the noises in the trees, were you concerned that it was a person?
Yes.
Did you tell your wife to go turn on the light to try and
Make sure. Yes. Make sure there's no one else in the yard.
Thanks, sir.
Released or subject to recall?
He's released.
And by the defense, released? Thank you, sir. You may step down. You may be released as a witness at this time.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's the end of him.
Quick redirect. Yeah.
Ruth Figgins.
Ruth,
And again, I mean, that was for a very limited purpose of saying I heard something behind my house, and I thought it was a person. Nothing major. Get in, get out, get another witness on, and it looks like that's what they're going to do. So let's see who the next witness is.
Figgins.
Ooh, fancy camera angles.
How come we didn't have this in there? Oh, this is Florida, isn't it?
Yeah, this is Florida, and while they're doing that, we do have one super chat to get through. Carts, that opening, she might as well have just said, we know he's guilty, so let's get this over with. Pretty much. All right, let's...
Ms. Figgins, good morning and welcome, ma'am. You'll come
Okay, so
forward
so
where
this is the
you're
wife of the
indicating.
last
And
witness
please
I've
raise your
taken
right
it.
hand to be sworn as a witness. Thank you. Do you swear, affirm, any testimony you give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You'll follow the bailiff now to the ramp that leads up to the witness chair. Please watch your step. When you get to that chair, your phone in front of you is fully adjustable. It might be high, so you might need to bring it down a little bit. Thank you. You may proceed, Mr. Diaz.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, ma'am. If you would, please state your full name for the record.
Ruth M. Figgins?
Are you the wife of Jonathan Figgins?
Yes,
And do you and your family reside at 6211 Kite Ridge Drive in Lithia, Florida?
we do.
Is that here in Hillsborough County?
Yes.
I want to talk with you about the early morning of Saturday, May 28th, somewhere just before 12:30 in the morning. Do you remember being awoken from sleep?
Yes.
What was it that woke you up?
My husband calling up to our older daughter and asking if she was okay.
And did your daughter at some point indicate she was fine?
Yes.
And then what, if anything, did your husband do after he checked on your daughter and made sure your daughter was okay?
He said, well, who's yelling? Or who's screaming?
Okay. And then what happened?
And then he said
Surprise,
something
we're not
along
on
the
Chrome
line
anymore. Don't worry
regards
about it.
of, then
It's everything is
who
maxed.
was that? Or
I
what
used
was
a computer
that? And
before.
He said, and there it is again. And he ran out the front door. And shortly after, not even 15 seconds, he screamed for me to call 911 that someone was hurt.
And did you pick up the phone and start calling 911?
Yes.
At some point, did you get up and go outside to see what it is your husband had found?
Yes.
And what did you see?
I found I found my husband standing on a section of our porch looking over at who we found out later that was Kay Baker.
Do you know Kay Baker?
I've only met her once.
Does she reside at 6207 Kite Ridge
Kay
Drive?
Baker's the victim.
Yes.
Basically 2 houses over. from
Yes.
yours. When did you meet her?
Just maybe about 2 weeks before.
All right, so this is May 28th, so middle of May.
Not the very beginning of May, but the early middle part of May.
And what was the occasion that you ended up having a conversation or meeting her?
I was speaking with another neighbor as I was walking my dog, and we were talking about how our majority of our small neighborhood, maybe 75 houses, all got nasty grams from the HOA. If you live in an HOA, you know if you get a violation letter, same neighborhoods call them nasty grams, some, bill grams or whatever, but we call them nasty grams. My neighbor, Casey, said, oh, look, Kay got one for her mailbox. Let's go over and talk to her. And that's when I met Kay.
All right, so you just got the owner occupant of 6207 Kite
I
Ridge.
hate homeowners associations.
Her, but I knew she lived there.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, again, this is them. Every time they do a camera angle change, it cuts out. You need to stop being Michael Bay and just give let your damn show do its thing. I love it when it's not me. It makes me feel better about myself. right, fast forwarding here until they get their shit taken care of. All right. Yeah, HOAs are better than lawn cuck. That they appear to be. All righty. Well, how cool is that?
Standing on a section of our porch looking over at who we found out later that it was Kay Baker.
Do you know Kay Baker?
I've only met her once.
Does she reside at 6207 Kite Drive?
Yes.
Basically 2 houses over.
Yes.
When did you meet her?
Just maybe about 2 weeks before.
All right, so this is May 28th, so middle of May?
Not the very beginning of May, but the early middle part of May.
And what was the occasion that you ended up having a conversation and meeting her?
I was speaking with another neighbor as I was walking my dog, and we were talking about how our majority of our small neighborhood, maybe 75 houses, all got nasty grams from the HOA. If you live in an HOA, you know if you get a violation letter, some same neighborhoods call them nasty grams, some, bill grams or whatever, but we call them nasty grams. My neighbor, Casey, said, "Oh, look, Kay got one for her mailbox. Let's go over and talk to her." And that's when I met Kay.
All right, so you discovered the owner occupant of 6207 Kite Ridge?
Her, but I knew she lived there.
Okay, fair enough.
And this is where it froze last time. This is them. We're just gonna write it out because that's what we do. Yes, this is them. This is lawn cuck. We love you, lawn cuck. You guys suck. Again, I think we just sort of kind of need to not change camera angles. Just put the camera on whoever it needs to be on and leave it there, because apparently they're not very good at changing camera angles. I have no idea how this goes on, but every time I go to fast forward it, I seem to miss the mark. So we're just gonna sit through this. Yeah, they're live streaming on a grade school projector. Yeah, like one of the big overhead projectors. They messed every part of the setup up. Yeah, overhead. More like Court TV that sucks in this case. Is Court TV the ones that are primarily responsible for this? This is coming from lawn cuck. So, yep, we're just kind of waiting them out. Congratulations, lawn cuck. We're kind of missing some testimony here. Oh, that's even better. Wow, we just go to the test pattern. Good job, guys. Oh, we're back.
Yes.
And breathing easily, or did you hear like some sort of like gasping or gurgling or choking?
It was definitely a struggle.
So your husband rolls this person over. You realize it's an adult woman. And what, if anything, do you notice as far as this individual? What do you see about face or neck that's of interest to you?
Her face from the nose down was covered in blood. Her neck, and then she had a very major wound to her throat and neck area, above her collarbone area.
At this point, are you already on the phone with 911?
Yes.
And are they telling you to render aid?
My husband, yes.
So you're kind of giving.
Yes, I know the ski trial thing is on here. It's on in 30 minutes.
All of this, can you tell me how deep that wound appeared to you?
It was deep enough where when my husband rolled her over, I saw.
And I'm streaming this one, not that one. We're going to get through the morning session and cut it off
there. Did your husband ultimately start presenting medical aid or emergency
chest
aid?
compressions? Okay. And he put a towel on her neck.
At any point while all of this is happening, does your husband ever ask you to go turn on the lights in the backyard of the home?
Yes, our back porch, our back lanai light.
What was your understanding of turn lights on?
He said, "Go turn the back light on." I heard something.
Right. Were you concerned that there might be some sort of intruder or attacker somewhere in the area? So you go and turn the lights on, and then you're just basically waiting on the phone with 911 for deputies and emergency medical response to arrive.
It felt like forever. But.
Ma'am, let me just ask you. It's all right. You haven't done anything wrong, but the court report can only take. He finishes the question before you answer. It's okay.
I know I'm worried. Forgive me. Transpiring. Your husband's there. You're on the phone with 911. You're waiting for people to show up. Does your neighbor from 6209 ever come out?
Yeah, he's come out. I asked if he could help my husband, and he didn't help.
Okay. But he was there.
Yes.
And did he seem to be responding to the sounds that were happening outside the house too?
I
know you don't know what's in his head, but I mean, was it all basically around that same time?
Yes, it was It was all when my husband was down on the ground with Kay.
This is all before deputies have arrived, before fire trucks or ambulances.
Yes.
He's already come outside.
Yes.
Did a deputy eventually arrive and take over, providing aid to Ms. Baker in place of your husband?
Yes.
And I want to ask you, does your home have cameras?
We have cameras, but you have to activate them via your app.
Okay, and so you have some sort of app on your phone or whatever that you can tell the camera to start recording now.
Yes.
But if you don't physically go on the phone and hit the app and tell it to start recording now, as a general rule, it's not recording?
It's not going to record.
Your Honor, if I can approach? You may. This marked as State's Exhibit number 2. Do you recognize this?
It's a disc.
And is this disc contain?
Oh, stop with the camera changes.
Hours of Saturday, May 28th, 2022.
Yes.
And how do you know this is the same disc that has?
It has my initials and today's date on it.
So you listened to this earlier and verified this is the correct audio?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I move into evidence State's Exhibit number 2.
Any objection? Stage 2 will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
God, that would be so wild just to hear noises, go in your backyard and find a woman with stab wounds and a cut throat. Yeah.
Yeah, no shit. I can't understand what would be the purpose of having cameras that don't have motion sensors attached to them.
2022, 028 and 17 seconds.
This is a 911 call.
I need emergency, please. What? Ambulance. Stay on the line. Yes, there's someone. Stay on the line, ma'am. I think it's right in front of the house. My husband just went out there.
That's the defendant there.
It's 6211 Kite Ridge Drive. Or next door. I'm trying to get out my door, but my dog is trying to stop me. Someone is hurt. Ma'am, I need you to repeat the address for verification. It's 6211 Kite Ridge Drive. Okay, perfect. And now I need your telephone number in case you get disconnected. 912-341.
Oh, Jesus. Blah, 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 blah. Don't need to get her phone number.
Okay, who's cut? It's a teenager. Okay, male or female? I think it's a girl. They have a major cut to their neck. Do you know what happened? I don't know. My husband heard someone screaming, and then we came outside. They're struggling. Get out! Come out this door. They're struggling. I'm sorry. My children are trying to get out of the house. Sheriff, are you online?
This is the defendant getting emotional listening to the 911 call.
Ma'am, do you know if this person was assaulted? I don't know. We just came outside. They have a major wound to their neck, and they're struggling to breathe. Are you with them now? Yes. How old is she? A teenager. Okay. Are they awake? I don't think they're even responsive at this point. Is she breathing? I don't see any breath. Yes, breathing. Okay. She is breathing, you said? Yes, but struggling.
Ugh.
Yeah. Who do you think it is? They've been dispatched. That's not that one. That's okay. Okay. Look, I need Sophia to come downstairs, and I need you to go sit on this couch. You know, not move, okay?
Dude, stop with the mouth movements.
Yeah. Do you know this person? What? Do you know who this? I don't know who this person is. My daughter thought it was the little girl next door, but it's not. Ma'am, is the blood spurting or pouring out? No, it's all over the ground. Okay, but is it spurting out or pouring out of the person? It may have already. I don't think this person has any more blood. It looks like a knife wound. Okay. Okay, I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. They'll know exactly what to do next. Yeah, exactly.
Spiegel.
No, please. Is your back door locked? I don't know what happened. Ma'am. Yes. Is the assailant still nearby? We don't see anyone. We back up to Lithia Pinecrest. They could have stars and hopped the fence.
Yes, that guy is the defendant.
Yes, I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. Stay on the line. I'll take exactly what to do next. I'm gonna tell you how to stop the bleeding. Listen carefully to make sure you do it right. I don't have anything. I don't think get it clean, right? I don't see them bleeding. I don't think they're with us. Ma'am. Yes. Get a dry cloth or towel and tell me when you have it. Do we have a cloth or anything? Anything with get a towel. Get a towel and put it over in the living room. Open that window so we can hear. I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. I'll say exactly what to do next. Okay, my husband's in this house. Okay, are you right by her now? I'm like 10 feet away. I don't know if there's someone in the alleyway or behind the house, so I'm afraid. If you're comfortable, lie her flat on her back and remove anything under her head. They want us to turn her. I want you to lie her flat on her back.
Dude, her throat is slit. Ugh.
I need you to get that clean dry cloth on her. Turn her over and put a pressure on her wound. Okay, we're gonna start CPR now. I need you to place the heel of your hand on the breastbone, right between the nipples. Put your other hand on top of that hand. Pump the chest hard and fast at least twice per second and 2 inches deep. She's not breathing. Ma'am, let's get some compressions going. They want you to do some compression.
No. I'm sorry my mic is so hot. It's just this volume is so low. But nurses, if someone has a slit throat and stab wounds, wouldn't chest compression sort of help them bleed out faster?
Okay, have you started CPR? No, my husband's trying to turn her. We need to start CPR. We need to start compression because we can lay her flat on her back. The sheriff's in route.
Dude,
Yes.
don't cry.
Started compressions yet? Start compression. I need you to pump the chest hard and fast at least twice per second. And
Completely overacted.
2 per second. Let the chest. Okay, my husband's doing it. Okay. I want you to count out loud for me, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count out loud with me. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is someone hurrying? Yes, ma'am. They've been dispatched. They're coming lights and sirens. I need you to continue compressions and continuing. Excellent. No. Can you please keep the towel also on the neck? We are. Okay, perfect.
Because I know at least 3 of you are nurses. I can see 3 nurses in the chat right now.
Are we continuing? Yes, my husband doing it. Very good. I'm just putting some notes in right now for the paramedics.
I mean, the other thing is there's 780 people watching. The odds are pretty good at least one was going to be.
The sheriff is also coming, ma'am. Can we go ahead and count out now? Keep going. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are we keeping up that same pace? Yes, my husband's not stopping. Excellent. So we do this. Paramedics are on Libya Pinecrest right now. Okay. What part of Libya Pinecrest? Because they're approaching your neighborhood. Let's just keep compressions up. You're doing a good job. Okay, tell them to keep coming all the way down to the neighborhood. They're coming, ma'am. Just come to the end. Okay. While he's continuing compressions, is there somebody that can wave them down? Yeah. Okay, excellent. Just continue compressions. We're outside along with our neighbors next door. Perfect. Continue compressions. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We still have a bag over the neck? Yeah. Okay, excellent. And your husband still can continue compression? I'm in the middle of the street waiting for someone. There's no one. Excellent. They're turning on your street now. You should be seeing them shortly. You're doing good. This is scary. We don't know who this person is. I understand, but you're doing a great job helping. Are you hearing them? No, I don't hear the fire or rescue. I don't hear anyone. This person, her feet are, she's barefooted and her feet are dirty. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to. No, you're doing great. You're doing great. We just need to continue those steps. Continuing. Is there a neighborhood gate? No, there's no gate in our neighborhood. It's just we're, depending on what way we're going to turn onto Falcon Ridge and then a left onto Kite. I don't know. It turned into the Pipeline neighborhood. I think that part of the street called.
Oh man, this would just be really awful.
Pipeline. We're going to relate it. I think that's Kite Ridge, and then you make another left and you come all the way down by the cows. Okay. We still have compression going on? No, my husband stopped. Oh no, he's going. Okay. Yeah, we need to continue those compressions. My husband doesn't feel a pull. That's okay. If you keep doing the compressions, that's helping her. He said if you keep doing it, it's helping because the oxygen is getting to her brain. Yeah. Keep doing the compressions. That's helping her. I don't see anyone coming in the neighborhood yet. Did they go the wrong way? I don't believe so, ma'am. We just need you to keep up compressions now. They are dispatched. Is he still doing our compression? Yes. Great. That's helping. We appreciate it. She's lucky to have you guys. Just keep it up. Yeah, I hear the sirens now. Oh, good. But they're far in the distance. Okay, keep it up. They're coming like the sirens, so they should be there.
Yeah, Lon Cuck is really quiet. That's why, as you can see, I've got the volume up to 600%.
Lucky to have you guys helping. Just keep it up. This is what kind of neighborhood we are. We will protect our own, but this is scary. We don't recognize her, and I understand. You're doing a great job, though. You're doing great. Just continue the compression.
He does look like he's lost a lot of weight since he's been in prison. Oh, now buffering. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for buffering.
It just makes life so much fun, doesn't it?
Because buffering makes everything so much better.
You're doing great. Just continue the compression.
I'd be interested to see what a body language expert would be saying about him.
He is. Great.
With Spidey when you need him. Probably off enjoying his life, I suppose.
It's very far into the distance. Okay. Where are they coming from? I thought we had a fire department down the street. They're coming, ma'am. They're coming. They just got off the phone. The sheriff's going to be there any minute.
It's true. It's better than buffering from 20 years ago.
Good. Just keep the compressions up. That's really helping. How's he doing? Is he hanging in there? He is. My husband worked out. This is. Oh, good. He had to stretch for a minute, but it's really helping. If you could just keep it up.
Yeah, where are the ambulance people?
I think they're trying to find the neighborhood. If you don't know where it is, kind of hidden. We're on Falcon Ridge, so we're pulling in. Sounds like sheriff is very close. Okay, it's the first left when you pull into Falcon Ridge, and then make another left, and we're all the way down at the end. So your husband, we see the great job. My husband's going. We see the light. Right. That's exactly what he's pulling out now. So your husband.
What great job, Law and Crime or Court TV or whoever is responsible for this. You guys are freaking awesome. Oh my Lord. Yeah. Good job there. Good job, guy. Looks like Amber Heard when she was trying to do crying. Did you finish your backlog of shots? If not, now would be a great time. Yeah, I really want to do some shots of whiskey.
Because comes a little surprising when you say we're down by the cows.
There's a, we're in a cul-de-sac, but beyond our cul-de-sac is a farm, and they had up until recently probably 50 cows. We call it the cow-de-sac because we see the cows.
A cow-de-sac. Nice.
Examination.
Nasty grams, cul-de-sac. They're very creative in this particular area, aren't they?
You actually are heard on the 911 call going out to the street to try to flag down or find the deputies, right?
Yes.
And that's because the street was really dark, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
but the street was dark enough that you felt like you need to be out there to try to flag them down, right?
Yes, so they could come to the right house.
Okay. And then behind the house, of course, is dark as well, right?
Yes.
And that wooded area certainly is dark, right?
Yes.
And then behind that small wooded area, I know we keep calling it woods, but it's just sort of a wooded patch. There's Lithia Pine Crest, right?
Yes.
And in addition to that, we hear you on the 911 very upset about the situation, of course, right?
I was very scared. Yes.
How long do you recall prior to your husband actually alerted you to the thud that he heard? Do you recall hearing anything at all prior to your husband telling you he heard the thud?
No, I was in our master bedroom, and it's off of the living room.
So you didn't hear anything at all prior to that? And of course, we could hear how long it took on the 911 call. It took about 15 minutes for the deputies to respond, right? Long time, a lot of things that could happen during those 15 minutes, right?
Right.
Now, you indicated, and you kind of stopped short when you said Douglas Hicks, your neighbor, didn't help. Why did
He said he was drinking. He threw his hands up and said, I don't want to help.
Okay. And did he make a comment to you about being too drunk to assist?
I do remember him saying something in those lines.
Now, you indicated as well that, and you explained it at the end, that we're down by the cows because there's this really big field sort of at the end sack just after you go over the little river there, right?
I wouldn't call it a river.
Word.
I'm not really sure what a culvert is, but it's not a very big body of water. You could probably walk through it.
Bitch
Great,
woman.
that's exactly my point. Someone could walk through that cow field, through that little water area right into your neighborhood as well, right?
Yes, but there's barbed wire around the cows and a small fence.
Well, that fence actually is way far down, right? Isn't there a big field right after the water, right before you get to Lithia Pinecrest?
I'm sorry, one more time?
Sure. When you get to the end of your cul-de-sac, that little bit of water you could walk through?
Yes.
Then there's a big open part of the field before you ever get anywhere near the fence, right?
No, it's not very big at all. There's maybe from the other side of the water, from the water on our side, there's maybe 10 to 15 feet across the water, and then there's only about 12 feet from the water to the fence.
Okay. And in those 12 feet, that area, really just walk through to Lithia Pinecrest as well, right?
For Lithia Pinecrest, you would have to run on a trail. There's a little trail behind our houses, and then it circles back alongside Lithia Pinecrest.
Perfect.
But there's a large body of water between, unless you run alongside the houses or walk alongside the houses and circle around, there's a body of water between Lithia Pinecrest and the field by the cow, behind our neighborhood.
And that's further down, right?
Yes.
And let's talk about that.
I don't know I don't know where she's going with this. What's the size of the body of water thing?
We'll use your term running trail. That
What is the point of arguing over the geography of the area? It makes no sense to me.
Well, we don't get to know why they're arguing over it because Law and Cuck can't keep a damn stream to save their life. See, every time I skip ahead 5 seconds, we get this buffering thing going. So Law and Cuck can just eat my ass.
There's a really large, we'll use your term running trail, that borders all the houses.
So we're just gonna let it play on through because for some reason every time I use the arrow key to skip ahead, it buffers because screw Law and Cuck. Yeah, this is they better have their shit together today because this is almost making this damn feed unwatchable.
I don't have any questions, Your Honor. Thank you. She can be released.
Released and released by the defense.
Yes, sir.
You may step down. You may be released as a witness at this time. Last name, please. Douglas Hicks.
Let's see. How long do we have Douglas Hicks here for? We've got, well, it looks like we got Douglas Hicks for about 15 minutes. Didn't really want to click that, but I did.
The microphone or talk a little louder. Either one is fine by me.
You can move it up some if you need to. The microphone is fully adjustable yet.
Sorry, we'll get through him. They'll break for the day, and then we'll call it quits for today, and we'll do the afternoon session tomorrow.
Is that here in Hillsborough County?
Yes.
I want to ask you who lives with you at your home in 6209.
My wife, Christine Hicks, my 2 sons, Alden Walker, and my daughter, Jocelyn.
Can you tell me the age of them?
Yes, 21 was Alden, 18 Walker, and Jocelyn is 11.
All right. So you got 21 to 11, basically 3 kids.
Correct.
I want to talk with you about the really early morning hours, just after midnight, on Saturday, May 28th, approaching about 12:30 in the morning. Do you remember what you were doing at that point?
Yes, actually, my son Alden and I were playing video games in the living room.
Just like Hayden.
Mainly hockey.
So you're playing hockey video games, and do you have the sound?
Art
on?
Garfunkel.
Yes.
With less hair.
To help me paint a picture for the jury so they can figure out where you are. So we have the fortune of having a TV. You have a TV in your home where you're playing video games, correct?
Correct.
So I was shooting the television, correct?
Yes.
To your back, what is to your back in the room where you're in?
That is the front window to the living room and our main couch.
So if you turn around
Beavis's
to the TV,
dad.
you're looking at the window that looks out onto Kite Ridge Drive.
Are you shitting me? Yeah, they're not shitting me.
Wall that basically is looking at 6211, the home of Jonathan and Ruth Figgins.
Yes.
So you guys are.
Oh, that's great news, Mighty Mate. Congratulations.
Playing video games on the TV, you got the sound turned on, and does something outside, some noise, get your attention?
Yes.
And when you first hear it,
Awesome.
what do you think that
Good
noise
job.
is?
Oh my God. Come on. Florida, what is up with your internet?
11.
Correct.
Okay, so there's a window, and you hear a noise, and what do?
Immediately run upstairs to check on my other 2 kids.
All right, and is there a particular child you're checking on?
Jocelyn and Walker, both were upstairs.
The sound that you heard, as best as you can, describe to the jury what this sound is.
It sounded almost like somebody kind of crying or shortness of breath type situation.
And the voice that you could hear, even though it wasn't speaking, did you form any impression as to whether or not that was a male or a female voice?
It's a female, I believe.
Did you hear any sounds that indicated movement?
Not really. Just a little bit of maybe something passing
Passing what?
the window type area.
All right, so you hear just a little bit of movement right outside that window area. Is that
Yes.
correct? Now, if I'm standing outside your home and I'm looking at the side of your home where the window is that generally the area where Mr. Figgins' fence starts?
Yeah.
So it's looking right in that area there where the fence starts and also before the fence where it starts. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you hear this female sounding voice, you hear some kind of movement, and you hear some kind of pain sound.
Correct.
And I think you also described like some sort of, do you mean like boo-hoo crying, or do you mean like crying, like yelling out?
Like, well, kind of yelling out.
Okay. So you go check on your kids. I assume nothing was wrong with your kids.
No,
No, nothing was wrong?
nothing was wrong.
Okay. And so what do?
So I immediately come downstairs and go to the front door.
As you go to the front door and look out your front door, what, if anything, do you notice?
Actually, Alden was heading towards there, so I stopped him just to go outside to see what was going on.
Your
Because now
21-year-old son is going outside and you felt the need to stop him?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do?
I go out front and go onto the patio and just look around, and I notice somebody laying down at the end of the patio.
What do you mean by laying down? Are they on your patio, like the actual concrete or wood of your patio?
No, just beyond our patio.
So in the grass on the side of the patio?
Correct.
What could you tell about this person?
That they weren't moving. They were just laying still.
All right. And could you tell anything about age, sex, race, anything at all?
No, it's kind of hard to. I didn't recognize who it was, or see any. Couldn't really tell.
Did you see anyone else in the immediate vicinity?
No, I did not.
Not even your neighbors?
No, Mr. Higgins was out there, and Mrs. Higgins was on the phone calling 911 in the street.
So there were people out there already.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mr. Figgins, where was he in relation to the person on the ground?
He was straight across the way from our patio to his.
So he's still standing on his porch or whatever.
Correct.
Okay. At some point, did you ever see Mr. Figgins go over and start rendering aid to the person on the ground?
Yeah, he
And
did.
did she end up having to get rolled onto her back in order for aid to be given to her?
Yes.
Did you notice anything about her then?
I noticed just the longer hair. There was a lot of blood covering her.
Did you notice if there was any sort of indication of life from her? Was she breathing, talking, moving, anything at all?
I noticed just like one last type of little breath
All right, but you're
coming from her.
You heard a breath or saw a breath?
Heard a breath.
Okay. Mr. Figgins is there rendering aid. Do you go help?
No, actually, there's a railing around our patio, so he was already like working on that.
He got railed on the patio.
I want
Cool.
to talk with you about your property, your home at 6209. Do you have a backyard fence?
No, I do not.
Is any portion of your backyard fenced in?
No, it is not.
So if I wanted to walk from the sidewalk in front of your home, I could just walk along the side and go into the backyard of your home?
Correct.
If I walked all the way to the end of your property on the backside, what, if anything, is there dividing your property from like public property?
There's a lot of brush.
What,
and
if any,
trees,
point is there to this?
big trees in the back.
Well, I guess the point is to say he just looked out the window and watched a woman die.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where the road Lithia Pinecrest actually is.
But there along Lithia Pinecrest in that particular stretch of road, is there businesses or anything there along the road?
Watcher. Yeah.
No.
On this particular evening, did your home have any sort of external facing cameras?
Yes, we have a ring that faces outward from our front door.
All right, for anyone
Oh,
who
so you
doesn't know,
got the
is that like
murder
one of those
on the
things,
ring
it's a
camera.
doorbell
Great.
and the camera?
Correct.
Does that camera record?
It does.
Do you have to tell it to record?
No.
All right. Was it working that night?
That's why
No,
they're
it's
going
not.
through all this.
Why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
The battery had actually ran out, and we
Oh,
needed to
Jesus.
recharge it.
Seriously?
Fair to say that your Ring doorbell camera did not record anything that would have happened moving in front of your home.
Correct. Did not.
Did you
Okay, so
stick
that's
around
not
until
why
law
he's
enforcement
here.
arrived?
Yes,
And did you end up talking with them?
I did.
Pass the witness round.
Why is he here? Just to say he looked out and saw a body in the street.
Morning, Mr. Hicks.
Good morning.
That was it. What the hell did he testify to?
I know you described a moment ago that you heard some sort of crying or yelling out. Do you remember previously saying that the only thing you heard was gasping or gurgling?
Yes. It's like kind of a combination.
Okay, so it wasn't crying like somebody loudly sobbing or yelling out like somebody screaming. You heard gasping and gurgling, right?
Right.
Okay.
He's here to fix the sound.
I just want to
Fuck, I wish.
We should only be so lucky.
He bought more booze instead of batteries. Michael, what's the point of having a cam if you're too lazy to replace the batteries? Seriously.
You right?
It's very true.
Thank you, Your Honor. You can be released.
Released by the defense.
Oh, thank fuck
What
for
was
that.
that?
May be released as a witness at this time.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is 12:15. All right, it's almost 12:15. I'm going to go ahead and give you your lunch break.
Okay, that is the morning session. Sorry for all of that bullshittery that just went on there. One third of it was me. 2/3 of it was them. Tomorrow, I hope tomorrow will be better from my end. I know. Is this trial going to be over in a day? Asks Show. No, I'm guessing this will. They said they were going to call 28 witnesses. They burned through 3 of them in the opening. So, I mean, assuming that it goes this way, it's probably a week. I mean, maybe 10 days, I guess they would allot for something like this. 2 weeks at the outside, I guess. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of things. You just need to connect the dots. Who saw her in the bar? Who saw her go home? Who watched her die through their window because they didn't have a camera to record things because they didn't replace the batteries? I mean, it just seems like they're connecting the dots and they're going to get to the point where it was dude standing in the bushes, bleeding from self-inflicted wounds after having stabbed his wife to death. But I mean, it's an interesting case. I mean, it's a death penalty case, one that changed from a non-death penalty case to a death penalty case. So tomorrow at 10 p.m. Korea time is now 8 p.m. Everywhere else time. So 8 p.m. Eastern time US is when we'll pick this up tomorrow. We'll go through the afternoon session and like I said, probably we'll do some marathon streams on Saturday to get through this. I want to catch up by Monday so that we're watching it live starting on Monday.
Yeah, because I just ducked ahead to make sure that Law and Crime got their shit together with the streams. Looks like they've done okay for today's stream, and it does look like there's some interesting little tidbits. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but there's aircraft footage of the chase.
Oh, sweet. All right.
So
great.
Stick with it, guys. Hang in there. It gets better.
So everybody, thank you for joining us here for this new trial. We're going to see how this goes over the next few days. The Cummings trial is just starting right now. So what I'm going to do is, I can't. Ricada's on Rumble. Can't dump into him. Oh well. Ricada's streaming it on Rumble, so go on over there Rekieta Law, and you can watch the closing part of the Cummings trial over there. We'll see you here tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Korea, midnight Aussie time, and that would be 1 p.m. I guess UK time.
Yeah.
We'll
And for any of my
see y'all
locals
then.
that are in chats, it's 4 a.m. I'm unlikely to be awake inside 4 hours for my usual show. I've already postponed it on YouTube, but if I can get something out tomorrow, I will. If not, short stream the day after because I'm in Camperdown, and then the day after I've got court. So it'll be a rough couple of days for us, people. We're going to try and have some consistency, but there may be a few missed streams.
All right. Well, go over, make sure you subscribe to Aussie Overlord, like every single video he's ever done. He does some great stuff, some funny stuff. And he's a bro, he's a bud, he's a ride or die crew guy. So we'll thank you mods that stuck through this dual stream tonight. Everybody here in chat, thank you. Thank you for those of you that are just listening to it as you're driving down the road or working in the office, wondering what the hell the problem was. It was all them. Thank you to the people that have subscribed to me. We'll see you all same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow. Take care, everybody. We'll see you. Don't forget to enjoy your legal vices. Bye now.